It feels like something strange is happening right now. Everywhere you look online, people are suddenly talking about 2016 again. Old songs are trending. Old fashions coming back. Old memes are resurfacing. And many people are asking the same question. Why does 2026 feel so much like 2016? At first, it sounds like simple nostalgia, but when you look closer, the similarities go much deeper. Let's start with the obvious. Music. In 2016, pop culture was dominated by a very specific sound. It was catchy, upbeat, emotional, and everywhere. Artists like Drake, Rihanna, Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, and Ariana Grande shaped the entire vibe of the year. Songs like One Dance, Work, Sorry, and Starboy weren't just hits, they were moments. Fast forward to 2026, and something interesting is happening. Music charts are once again filled with melodic hooks, emotional lyrics, and danceable rhythms. But what's more surprising is that many of the same artists, or artists inspired by them, are dominating again. Producers are using similar beats, vocals are layered in familiar ways, and even the emotional tone feels similar. Hopeful, energetic, and just slightly nostalgic. It's not a coincidence. Music moves in cycles, and right now, the industry seems to be revisiting a formula that once worked extremely well. But music is just the beginning. Let's talk about fashion. If you scroll through Instagram or street-style photos in 2026, you might feel like you're looking at a 2016 highlight reel. Oversized hoodies, crop tops, ripped jeans, chunky sneakers, bucket hats, retro sunglasses. All of these were huge in 2016. And now, they're back. Again in Batista. There's a twist. In 2026, the same styles are being modernized with better materials, digital fashion, and sustainability in mind. Yet visually, the influence is undeniable. Even hairstyles have come full circle. Middle parts, fades, long textured hair, and natural curls are dominating once again just like they did 10 years ago. Fashion always repeats itself, but what makes this cycle special is how clearly people recognize it. People aren't just wearing similar clothes. They're actively saying, "This feels like 2016 again." And that brings us to social media culture. In 2016, social media was in a very specific place. Instagram was mostly about photos, filters, and aesthetic feeds. Snapchat was dominating stories. YouTube was growing rapidly with daily vloggers, prank channels, and challenge videos. There was a sense of fun, creativity, and experimentation. Fast forward to 2026. TikTok has become the center of internet culture, but look closely at the content that performs best. Dance trends, challenges, relatable humor, short, catchy moments that feel familiar. In many ways, TikTok today feels like a modern version of early YouTube and Snapchat. Combined, short attention spans, fast trends, viral sounds, creator-driven culture. The platforms may have changed, but the way people interact with content feels strikingly similar. Another big similarity is internet humor. In 2016, memes were simple, bold, and easy to understand. They were often silly, exaggerated, and universally relatable. In 2026, meme culture has evolved, technically, but emotionally, it's very close. People once again gravitate toward absurd humor reaction memes, nostalgic references remixing old content into something new. It's not just about being funny, it's about being familiar. And familiarity is powerful. It makes people feel safe, connected, and part of something shared. But perhaps the biggest similarity between 2016 and 2026 is the overall mood. In 2016, the world felt like it was moving fast, but in a hopeful way. Technology was exciting. Social media was fun. trends felt fresh. Now, in 2026, after years of rapid change, people are craving that same feeling again. There's a growing desire for simpler content, lighter entertainment, less stress, more joy, and subconsciously, many people associate that feeling with 2016. Not because 2016 was perfect, but because it represented a moment when digital culture felt lighter and more optimistic. That's why so many creators are leaning into 2016 vibes again. It's not just nostalgia, it's emotional design. So when you see people saying 2026 feels like 2016, again, they're not just talking about trends, they're talking about a feeling. A cultural rhythm, a shared digital memory. And we're only halfway through this story. Because the real question is not just why 2026 feels like 2016, but what that means for where culture is heading next, and that's where things get really interesting. If 2026 truly feels like 2016 again, then the next question becomes, is this a good thing? To answer that we need to look at why cultural cycles happen in the first place. Pop culture doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in loops. Every generation grows up with certain sounds, visuals, and digital experiences. And when that generation gains creative influence, they naturally bring those elements back. Right now, many of the people shaping culture in 2026 were teenagers or young adults in 2016. That means 2016 wasn't just a year for them, it was a formative era. It shaped how they view style, humor, music, and self-expression. So when they create content, design, fashion, or produce music today, those influences show up not because they are recopying the past, but because the past is part of who they are. Another major reason 2016 is returning is the speed of digital burnout. Over the past decade, technology has evolved incredibly fast. Artificial intelligence, virtual influencers, augmented reality, constant notifications, infinite scrolling. While all of this is impressive, it also created fatigue. People started craving something more human, more simple, more emotionally grounded. And what better reference point than a time when the internet felt less complicated? In 2016, social media felt playful, creators felt approachable, trends felt organic, virality felt spontaneous. That's exactly what people want again. So in a way, the return of 2016-like culture in 2026 is a response to digital overload. It's a form of cultural self-correction. Let's also talk about celebrity culture. In 2016, celebrities were still seen as larger than life, but also relatable. They posted selfies. They went live on social media. They interacted directly with fans. In 2026, we're seeing a return to that model. Many celebrities are stepping away from overly polished branding and going back to casual posts behind the scenes. Moments, direct communication with fans. Even influencer culture feels more personal again. Less perfection, more personality. And again, that mirrors what made 2016 feel so engaging. Another big similarity is the way trends spread. In 2016, something could go viral overnight. A dance, meme, a phrase. And suddenly, everyone was talking about it. In 2026, the same thing is happening, just faster and more globally. Sound from one side of the world can become a trend everywhere within hours. But emotionally, it feels the same. A shared digital moment. Something everyone experiences together. This sense of collective participation is what makes people feel like they're living through a cultural era, not just consuming content. So what does all of this mean for the future? It suggests that culture is becoming more self-aware. People are no longer just following trends. They're recognizing them. They're saying, this feels like 2016 again, and in doing so, they're actively shaping what comes next. That's powerful. It means that nostalgia is no longer passive. It's interactive. Creators reference old styles. Audiences respond positively. Algorithms amplify what works. And suddenly, a decade-old aesthetic becomes modern again. But here's the most important part. 2026 doesn't feel like 2016 because it's copying it. It feels like 2016 because it is a remixing Italiano, taking what people loved and adapting it to a new digital reality. Better cameras, smarter algorithms, faster platforms. But emotionally, still human, still playful, still searching for connection. And maybe that's why this comparison resonates so much, because in a world that often feels increasingly complex, people naturally gravitate toward moments that felt simpler, lighter, and more joyful. Not because the past was perfect, but because it reminds us of how we felt. So, the real takeaway is not that 2026 is becoming 2016. Again. It's that culture is remembering what made digital life feel exciting in the first place, and is choosing to bring that energy back consciously. The question now is, will the next few years continue this cycle? Or will something entirely new emerge once again? One thing is certain. When people start collectively saying this feels like another era, it usually means something big is happening beneath the surface. And right now, that something feels surprisingly familiar.